All right, good morning, everybody. We're going to start with the national anthem, so if you'd please rise. That was Public School 15. Thank you very much. They were fantastic, huh? Good morning, Red Hook. We have certainly missed you. Before we begin, we do have some special dignitaries and business owners here. Obviously, Mayor Bloomberg, who I'm sure everybody recognizes. Senator Schumer and his wife, Iris. One of my favorite people, Brooklyn Borough President Marty Markowitz. Ken Adams, the CEO of the Empire State Development Corp., who's representing Governor Cuomo. David Mead, Executive Director of the Southwest Brooklyn Industrial Development Corp. St. John Frizzell, owner of Fort Defiance Cafe and Bar. And Ron Kyle, owner of Dry Dock Wine and Spirits. And Carlos Cesoro, president of the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce. Now, I know we have a lot of people who are going to come up here and talk about Fairway, but before we begin, I'm Dan Glickberg. I'm the great-grandson of Fairway Market's founder, Nathan Glickberg. And although today is the reopening of Fairway in Red Hook, today is not just about us. Today is about the reopening of an entire community in the borough of Brooklyn. Today is about Red Hook rising once again, and today is about the restoration of Van Brunt Street as one of Red Hook's pillars. Today, Fairway Market is happy to again be a part of this fantastic community. And today, we are proud to stand next to all of the other local businesses here because it is these businesses that are the real backbone of the community. Today is about all of us standing up and proclaiming that we, in fact, never did leave and that we will always be here. Today is a great day for Red Hook. Today is a great day for Brooklyn. And today is a great day for New York City. Thank you. And now some words. It wasn't on the list. I forgot that Miss America is also here. She wasn't on my list.
How could you miss her? Howie, what's wrong with your son here?
And Councilwoman Sarah Gonzalez, who I, in fact, worked with when we first opened up the store. And now a couple words from our chairman, Charles Santoro.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Danny. And special thanks to Mayor Bloomberg, Senator Schumer, Borough President Markowitz, and other distinguished guests, friends, customers for being here to celebrate the grand reopening of Fairway Market in Red Hook. And by the way, for Senator Schumer's wife, we do have a seat for you in the front if you happen to be in the audience. So just raise your hand and we'll make sure that you can get properly seated. As Danny mentioned, I'm Charles Santoro, chairman of Fairway and co-founder and managing partner of Sterling Investment Partners, a private equity fund that is majority owner of Fairway. And on behalf of all of us at Fairway, and Sterling, we are very proud to share with you this beautiful and improved store. Incredibly, just 90 days ago, this store was an empty shell, completely destroyed by Hurricane Sandy. Now, prior to that, this store served some 1 million people annually who went through our registers and employed 350 people. So for all of us at Fairway, it was critical that we rebuild and reopen this location as soon as possible. That was our highest priority at Fairway. And I think at the very least, this reopening demonstrates the incredible determination and resilience of Fairway and the entire community of Red Hook. You should also know that all of our 350 loyal Red Hook employees, the majority of whom live in this neighborhood, were kept on staff, some working on the store's cleanup, while many others were placed in other Fairway locations. And with transportation an issue, we provided free shuttle service to and from Red Hook every day for these employees, nearly all of whom are here today. Immediately after Sandy struck, Fairway also went to work with Mayor Bloomberg, his staff, Borough President Markowitz, the Red Hook Initiative, and other service organizations in the area to help our neighbors in need. We received tremendous support and leadership from the city, and ultimately, Fairway donated 60,000 pounds of food and other essentials to these efforts. Thank you. Fairway volunteers also teamed up with local neighborhood volunteers to serve 5,000 hot meals to families throughout the affected areas. Understandably, we are incredibly proud of our employee volunteers and other volunteers within this community for their efforts during the crisis and their willingness to give of themselves to help those in need. And as part of Fairway's continuing effort to help the community recover, Fairway is supporting Restore Red Hook, an organization where all donations go straight to small businesses damaged by Sandy. So after you have shopped at Fairway today and hopefully bought plenty of food, you can also help as you're going through our registers by making a donation to Restore Red Hook. And Fairway will match these contributions today up to $20,000. Now, for Fairway, a store opening always provides us a special chance to celebrate the hard work and dedication of our many thousands of employees and, in the case of Red Hook, recognize those responsible for this store's rebuilding. Unfortunately, we do not have time today to mention the names of the many people at Fairway involved in this project as we normally would. But this is not a typical Fairway store opening ceremony, and today's celebration is far bigger than just the reopening of Fairway Red Hook. I think for all of us, today is a celebration of the rebirth of the whole Red Hook community. Fairway has rebuilt our store here as many other Red Hook business leaders have rebuilt their businesses to show our commitment to and our confidence in this vibrant community and the great city of New York. So today really is a celebration of what people can do when they work together with a common purpose. And with that in mind, we humbly offer thanks to our beloved customers for your loyalty and patronage. Thanks to our local business and community leaders here in Red Hook for all you have done. Thanks to our insurer, AIG, and in particular, David Brezhnehan, a senior member of AIG management, for standing by Fairway and for AIG's relentless support. And by the way, David is on the stage today. And of course, a very special and profound thanks to Mayor Bloomberg, his team, Senator Schumer, Borough President Markowitz, and the scores of other officials for everything you have done. Finally, a heartfelt congratulations to all our management and employee partners who work so hard every day for their dedication and their commitment in helping build what we believe is the world's greatest food market. I'd like to conclude my remarks, as I always do, by once again thanking everyone involved in rebuilding this beautiful store and by making one simple request of you all. After the ceremony ends, please do walk through our store and experience all that Fairway has to offer firsthand. And please don't forget to buy something. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to introduce Mayor Bloomberg, who has moved heaven and earth to facilitate Fairway's rebuilding and to support this community's recovery. Mr. Mayor.
Well, it wasn't heaven and earth, but it was something like 500 billion pounds of refuse and a lot of other things. Good morning, everyone. It is a great day for Red Hook. Fairway's back. Miss America is here. I think Marty Markowitz is getting verklempt. That is Gaelic. Schumer will translate that for you. A little more than 4 months ago, it's fair to say Red Hook's future looked brighter than ever, and then Sandy hit and dealt Red Hook what everybody thought was a devastating blow. But the community did come back together. The city went to work round the clock with lots of residents and volunteers pitching in. Today, Red Hook is back in action. The reopening of Red Hook Fairway in Red Hook is a big step forward with around 400 employees, most of them from the neighborhood. Fairway really is a very big economic anchor here, and I want to applaud Fairway for keeping its team working these last 4 months. Not a single Fairway, as Charles said, not a single Fairway's Red Hook employee lost a paycheck as a result of Sandy, and they'll all be back here working at the newly renovated market. And that's great news for Fairway employees and for the whole community. Now, of course, Fairway provides much more than just jobs. People come here from all over to shop at Fairway, and many of them spend their time and money in the stores nearby. I heard that over and over when I visited Red Hook businesses in the days after the storms, having Fairway up and running means having more customers come through the doors of all of the small stores in the neighborhood. And that's why our Restoration Business Acceleration team works so hard to help Fairway speed up reviews and inspections. And because of that work, Fairway is reopening more than 4 weeks earlier than it would otherwise have. Today, Red Hook's comeback from Sandy is turning a corner, and that's just not because of Fairway. Nearby Red Hook Lobster Pound is reopening today, and I'm going to go over and say hello to them. And our Business Acceleration team helped them take about a month off their reopening process. The Red Hook Winery is reopening today. So you could have a lobster and a glass of wine. I paid the winery a visit just 2 weeks after Sandy, and some people had said then in that neighborhood it never would come back, but both the winery and the Lobster Pound took advantage of the emergency loans and matching grants that the city began offering right after the storm, and each got a $25,000 loan and a $10,000 matching grant. And the winery is also using our sales tax exemption on rebuilding equipment and materials. Today, both these businesses are back, and dozens more businesses in Red Hook and hundreds more around the city are back or will be back with the help of the city gave them. $12 million in low-cost loans, nearly $2 million in grants, $3 million in tax breaks and rebuilding, and starting last week, almost all city fees waived for repair and recovery. And that's not all we're doing to bring Red Hook back. We've completed more than 99% of requests for rapid repairs for Red Hook homes damaged by Sandy. We've made repairs to local parks and public housing. We've done that with the help of Brooklyn residents hired for relief work through our Workforce One centers. And so we're still coming along, and we won't stop until the job is done. And I do want to applaud Fairway for working so hard to get us to today and for stepping up during one of our city's toughest periods. Fairway, as Charles said, donated hundreds of thousands of dollars in food and water and supplies and relief efforts, as well as more than 1,000 Thanksgiving and holiday meals. I did also want to single out our Department of Buildings, Small Business Services, and others who've gone that extra mile to bring businesses back as fast as possible. And we are grateful to Senator Schumer and the rest of the congressional delegation who fought so hard to ensure our city gets the federal relief funding we need to build on these efforts and come back strong. And lastly, I did want to thank the United Food and Commercial Workers Union Local 1500 and its president, Bruce Bath, for working so hard to bring Fairway back. When I first came here, the first time when Fairway opened, Bruce was there. I remember a bagel and a schmear. It was one of the best bagels I've ever had. You still have bagels inside?
Onion bagels.
Onion bagels. I'm going to go inside with Schumer and see if I can't get one and make a donation as well. So thank you for everything you do to make the market such an important part of this community. But above all, I want to thank the Red Hook community. As I've said before, Sandy's silver lining was seeing neighbors helping neighbors, lending a hand to those in need, and coming together for the common good. Sometimes a little pain. In the end, well, we wish we hadn't had the pain, but in the end, we all benefit from it. So, and I think that's certainly true here. So congratulations to everyone, and go shopping.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In my haste, I actually skipped over our Vice Chairman of Development, Howie Glickberg, who also doubles as my father. And I'm sure I'm going to hear about that at our weekly Sunday dinner. So,
Well, Dan, we're not waiting till Sunday. Anyway, Mayor, inside our store, you'll see we have all these beautiful murals painted by a fellow named Floyd. He used to be famous for his subway paintings, but he used an airbrush just off a picture of you. Look at that. And
Eat your heart out, Schumer, not
you there.
Oh, looks like his son. I'll get this one to get a few more.
I saw it before they grabbed it.
This one there.
It's really incredible.
We also have the mayor's favorite food, onion bagels, a little bagels and lox, and a schmear of cream cheese. Good morning, everyone. I'm Howie Glickberg. My grandfather founded Fairway 80 years ago. Now I'm known as Danny's father. I used to be the big boss, but not anymore. And it was at the same store at 74th and Broadway where our flagship store is today. Our history in Red Hook goes back almost 10 years. Myself, my two partners, David Snett and Harold Siebert, who's here today. Stand up, say hello, Harold. And we've been partners for 40 years and we're still friends, which I think is an accomplishment by itself. And Greg O'Connell. Is Greg here? Yeah. Greg said, we have this wonderful building for you. We want you to open up a food store. And my recollection of Red Hook goes back to Marlon Brando and On the Waterfront. So I said, I'll take a look at it. And you have to understand, Red Hook is cut off from the rest of Brooklyn. You have the Gowanus Canal on one side, the BQE, and then you have New York Harbor on the other side. We walked into this building, which is built during the Civil War. It's 150 years old. And it was just a dilapidated building, but we had a vision. We sat down. We said, we're going to open up a food store over here. In 2006, we opened up a Fairway in Red Hook, and at the opening, the mayor was here, borough president was here, senator was here, and it was a rejuvenation of Red Hook. Red Hook at that time was run down. We helped bring Red Hook back up. When we moved in, the neighborhood now had a place to go buy good food. All the local businesses had an anchor, and we created foot traffic. And then Sandy happened. You know, after 6 years of being here, I remember driving down the street the day after the hurricane, and it was complete devastation. No lights. Every building was flooded. Fairway had almost 5 foot of water inside. I mean, it was heartbreaking. I had tears in my eyes. So I said, enough. We're going to rebuild Fairway. We're going to take care of our customers. We're going to rebuild Red Hook. It took us a month to completely clear the store out. We got rid of everything inside the store, all the food, all the fixtures, all the refrigeration. And I remember when the mayor came, all that was left inside Fairway were bare walls and a floor. But we made a promise to the mayor and a promise to the residents that we were going to rebuild and we'll make Red Hook better than ever. And today, we see the fruits of all our labor. The businesses are coming back. The residents now have a place to shop. All our employees who we made sure were taken care of, we work with Local 1500, they all had jobs. They didn't lose a day's pay. And Fairway can make it back. We have a lot of resources, but if you take a look at the neighborhood over here, it was devastated. We had flood insurance. We had insurance. Most of the business don't have flood insurance. Most of the residents didn't have power for weeks. We actually made 6,000 Thanksgiving dinners for all the local residents because they didn't have the means to do it. So, and most important were our employees. When our customers walk into the store, they get to see the same smiling faces that they saw 4 months ago before Sandy. So today, like Danny said, like the mayor said, it's not about Fairway. It's about Red Hook. It's about Van Brunt Street, and it's about New York. We're all going to make it back. We're all going to be better than we were before. So I want to thank all the residents, and mostly I want to thank the people you don't see here. All my employees inside the store, all 350 of them, were just waiting for you to come and visit them again. So, again, thank everybody. And special thanks to the people behind me. The mayor, Marty Markowitz, Senator Schumer, who have gone out of the way to make sure that Fairway comes back. And Rob Walsh, I have to thank Rob Walsh. Stand up, Rob. Rob is a small business commissioner, and he's wearing a tie and jacket today, but he got his hands dirty with us to make sure that we came back. He helped us greatly in Kips Bay and in Red Hook, and my heart goes out to you, Rob. Okay, enough. Let's get on to the important people. Oh, by the way, I just want to tell Marty and the mayor, I had a choice of sitting between you two or sitting next to Miss America. And I chose you two.
I always thought you were smart until then.
Are you crazy?
So next we have Senator Charles Schumer of New York. Again, the senator was here when we opened up the store the first time. He'll tell you his wife is an ardent fan of Fairway. He'll also tell you it was his wife's idea to open up in Red Hook, so we'll go along with that. Over the past 3 decades in public service, Senator Schumer, a lifelong resident of Brooklyn, has built a reputation as a leader in finding common-sense solutions to national issues and a tireless fighter for New York. He and his wife, Iris, who is also here today, are among Fairway's most cherished shoppers for many years. Senator, all yours. Oh, one more thing. We did set up a website, and we are selling these T-shirts inside. And all the proceeds are going to go to the local businesses. They're all on the back over here. So everybody, please buy a T-shirt.
Thank you, Howie. Well, thank you, Howie. And today is a great day. It's a great day for Brooklyn. It's a great day for Red Hook. It's a great day for New York. It's a great day for America. It's a great day for Fairway. And it's a great day for the Schumer family, because our own personal supermarket is open again. In fact, my daughters say that Fairway is my wife's religion. She goes there every Saturday. Sometimes I go when I'm not busy, and we have a great time going up and down the aisles, picking out stuff. It shows me how the prices are doing, so I really like coming. I like the samples, especially at the cheese counter. And, in fact, the first day, as Howie mentioned, we were all here at the opening, and I knew Fairway was special because they were featuring cheese from yak milk from Mongolia. Can you imagine in Brooklyn, cheese from yak milk from Mongolia? By the way, I see my colleague in the audience, Nydia Velasquez, who represents this area. Welcome, Nydia. Done a great job for us. And Howie, look, my wife loved Fairway even before it opened in Brooklyn, so she'd go up to the West Side and shop. And she knew Howie, the place wasn't such a big deal then, and she would hock him. Why don't you open up in Brooklyn? Why don't you open up in Brooklyn? So I'm sure he had other things going on that made him open up in Brooklyn too. But I give my wife credit for the store there. And I want to tell you something. This is the kind of store that Fairway is. Now I want to talk about Fairway and their employees. So when Fairway closed, we weren't abandoning Fairway. And we would go shop at all the other Fairways. The one all the way out in Bayside we'd drive out to, the ones in Kips Bay, the one in Manhattan. And when we'd go there, we'd recognize the employees from the Brooklyn store and say, "What are you doing here?" And they said that Fairway and Howie and the family said not a single person is going to be fired even though the store is closed. Not a single person is going to miss a day's pay even though the store is closed. And they were employed at all the other Fairway stores throughout the New York metropolitan area, so that's a great thing. And one other thing we do for Fairway, sometimes if it's a Saturday, it's a nice spring Saturday, after shopping, we go have lunch in the back and sit on those little metal tables and watch the ships come into New York Harbor and see the Statue of Liberty, and I'd recommend that for everyone too. So, it's a good day for our family because our supermarket's opening. It's a great day for Fairway, which I mentioned, is a caring, wonderful supermarket. When we shop here, you see all of America and all of New York buy here. You come on Sunday, you'll see Hasidic people. They have a kosher section. You see poor people, middle-class people, rich people, people of every different background and color. It's a melting pot. Fairway is just like Red Hook is and just like New York. So we love Fairway, and we're so glad they're back. This is also, as I mentioned, a great day for Red Hook. We were here, or we were all here, right after the devastation. It was awful. I remember going into the Red Hook houses. There were elderly people on the 18th floor. They had been there for a week or two. No lights, no heat, no plumbing, no food. Volunteers climbed up the 18 stories in the Red Hook houses to give them the food they needed and to try and deal with the plumbing needs and the sanitary needs that people would have. And people wondered, will we ever come back? But of course we will. Red Hook, of course, will come back. We're Brooklynites. We're New Yorkers. We're Americans. We always come back. And today's opening is a metaphor for Red Hook and Brooklyn and New York. Today's opening ushers in a milestone in the neighborhood's physical, emotional, economic recovery. Fairway will once again draw thousands to the neighborhood who will walk the streets, shop in the stores, and a lot of them who come from other neighborhoods say, this is the kind of place I want to live in. You walk down a street in Red Hook, and you see single mothers struggling with their families who are on public assistance, and people who lived in Wyoming or Colorado a year ago and moved to New York and to Red Hook. It shows you the vitality of this neighborhood in New York. So in a sense, this marks not just the reopening of a store, but the reopening of a neighborhood that was truly devastated by the storm. And the open sign on Fairway's door doesn't just speak for Fairway, but for the whole neighborhood. It says, Red Hook is back and open for business. Everybody from around the city and around the area, come. Just like Lower Manhattan came roaring back after September 11th, Red Hook will do the same. Red Hook is a team. People care about each other. They look out for each other. And today, the team is getting back its captain, this great Fairway store, which symbolizes the greatness of Red Hook. And one final thing I do want to mention, the mayor mentioned it and others. The federal aid that we were able to get through the Congress, and it wasn't easy, as you know, $60 billion, will go to help stores, businesses, homes, large and small. And even if you have to lay out money now, whether you be the mayor in the city of New York, or Howie and Mr. Santoro and the family, there will be reimbursement for that. And it should encourage people to rebuild. There will even be reimbursement for mitigation, which means if you want to build so you're more storm-proof, if God forbid we have another storm, there will be reimbursement, not loans, but grants for that. So I say to everyone here in Red Hook, and I say to New York, rebuild, because there will be the financial backing there behind you to make sure that Red Hook and New York come back bigger and better than ever. Thank you. It's a great day for all of us.
Thank you, Senator. Our next speaker, Brooklyn Borough President Marty Markowitz, a devoted Fairway Red Hook shopper. Since entering Borough Hall in January 2002, Marty has served as the tireless chief advocate for Brooklyn's economic, social, and cultural interests while initiating and promoting efforts to improve Brooklynites' quality of life. But more important, he's become my friend over all these years. Marty Markowitz.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. I feel like family. I really do. First, Bob Steele, our great deputy mayor, the best. Bob Steele, the best. And I know Craig Haberman is here, our community board, and so many Brooklynites from Red Hook and throughout the city of New York. First, I want to say, if you would have said to me, Marty Markowitz, that Brooklyn would be the home of Miss America, well, let me tell you this. Let us learn this. When you think you've heard it all, you haven't. And so this young lady, Mallory Hagan, moves from Opelika, Alabama, population about 2 blocks in Brooklyn, and has a dream to become Miss America. And she becomes Miss Brooklyn, competes, and doesn't make it the first time. Then becomes Miss New York, then competes in Miss America. Bingo, she wins. So, Mallory, we are very proud of you. May your reign be superb. Hurricane Sandy may have battered our city, but as Brooklynites, come on. When we get knocked down, we get right back up. We rebuild, we rebound, and we recover better than ever. And today's grand reopening of Fairway proves that big time. And Red Hook, where's Red Hook residents? Red Hook residents. You never take no for an answer, Vi. You tell it like it is. You face it. What resilience, what strength. I want to thank, if I may, Senator Chuck Schumer. Let me tell you something. Those senators that voted against relief to New York, I don't know how welcome they are here, Chuck, I'll tell you. You're going to have to think about how they can redeem themselves in the future. But, Chuck, thank you for leading the fight for New York. Thank you. When the history books of New York City are written, I can assure you that Mayor Michael Bloomberg's legacy will be part of our city's life for the many years to come. Unbelievable contributions, and Brooklyn and New York is in a better place because of his outstanding leadership. Greg O'Connell, you got the whole thing started. We always look up to you. You really are a real hero in our times. And Howie Glickberg and the Glickberg family, Board Chair Charles Santoro, and President Bill Sanford, the much-awaited return of Fairway. By the way, I felt like a wandering Jew all over again. For 4 months, I've been wandering, just like Chuck, from store to store to store. I settled on Kips Bay because it was a little closer to where I live here in Brooklyn. But I have to tell you, wherever I went, just like you, Chuck, employees of Red Hook were in every store I went to, and the way they treated me, so it's not just a store. It's family, Howard. It truly is family to all of us. The buzz out in the streets after the storm was, will Fairway reopen? Then the buzz was, did you hear when it will reopen? And finally, when the announcement came that it would reopen today, foodies, our wait is over. Now, what an exciting day. My wife Jamie and I, because you may not know this, my wife doesn't cook, and neither do I. So every meal for us is eat out or take out. And like so many others, our weekly Fairway fix is a part of our lives. My wife Jamie, every week, heads straight for the non-fat yogurts, fruits, veggies, fresh fish, and coffee beans. And while she's occupied, I slip away and walk straight to the appetizing, prepared food counter, cafe, coffee, bagel, bialy, Danish, and wait for my wife to finish shopping. Now, during our holidays, Rosh Hashanah and Passover, our chef's name at home is Fairway Catering. In fact, I'm here so often I consider myself really a member of the Glickberg family. Now, all kidding aside, Fairway is truly like no other market. They are really dedicated to the communities that they serve. They care about their staff, they care about their customers, and they care about their communities. And I'll tell you, I was with them here in Red Hook. They were there distributing food, products that were needed, providing warehouse space. Unbelievable. They truly set the bar for other businesses in New York to follow, and more. And so, to Howard, to Danny, to Tom Hoover, I don't know where Tom is, that good-looking, taller guy. Where is he? To Tom Hoover, and to the entire staff, here's what I'm going to say right now. We need more than one Fairway in Brooklyn. 2 more to go. 2 more.
That's a promise. That's a promise.
I hope our next speaker is a little bit more enthusiastic than Marty was. Next up, we have Ken Adams, CEO of Empire State Development Corp. He's representing Governor Cuomo.
All right, thank you. I'm right here. Thank you, Howie. And no, how can you match Marty's enthusiasm and support? But we will do everything we can to keep this pledge for a second store in Brooklyn. Promises made here on the stage. Very quickly, on behalf of New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo, a brief and simple congratulations and thank you to the Fairway leadership team, to Howie, Dan, and everybody, to Tom for reopening, for this investment, for all that they've done for Brooklyn, for Red Hook, for Brooklyn, and for the city. This is really a fantastic event. And I just want to say, again, in the spirit of being brief and promoting commerce, meaning letting all of you go in and go shopping and spend money and get this thing going again, that we couldn't do what we do at the statewide level for economic development without great local partners. And behind me here, please put your hands together. We'll help keep you warm to represent State Assemblywoman Joan Millman, who's here, State Assemblyman Felix Ortiz, who's back here. I saw your City Councilman Sarah Gonzalez, City Councilman Steve Levin, who's back with Assemblyman Ortiz, and again, in terms of partnerships between economic development organizations like mine that I run for Governor Cuomo and the mayors here in the city, Rob Walsh at SBS, local resident shopper and great leader of the revitalization of all this. He works, of course, very closely with Greg O'Connell, with Carla Shashura from the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce, and all these great local leaders for whom it's an honor for us at the state level to partner for events like this. So thank you all, Fairway. Thank you again, and congratulations.
Before I call in David Mead, I left one person out, my sister Randy. Stand up, Randy. She's involved in Fairway also. And if I don't introduce her, I will get a phone call from my mother within a half hour. So, okay, next up we have David Mead, Executive Director of the Southwest Brooklyn Industrial Development Corp., formed by a group of business owners, community leaders, and elected officials to enhance the business climate in Sunset Park, and more recently in Red Hook and Gowanus. Southwest Brooklyn IDC has helped thousands of companies through the years and advocated on their behalf for a variety of issues. And he's going to bring up some local business owners with him also.
Thank you so much, and good morning, everyone. It's an absolute honor to be here with the leaders, with Mr. Mayor, with the Senator, the Borough President, all of our leadership. We are honored to be here. It's such a great turnout, and our organization, it's a local economic development group, and what we really see at Southwest Brooklyn is the importance of Fairway and Red Hook and the connection to the local business community. And it goes deep. It goes to Sahadi Fine Foods, it goes to Crepini, it goes to Tumador Chocolate, all companies in Sunset Park that have their products here. It goes to our friends right around the corner, Six Point Brewery. They have their products here. Fairway's a great supporter of local businesses, and we truly appreciate that. I do want to also just reiterate, it's incredibly important for you guys to know that they're a great local employer. It's important that we have folks that live in the community that are able to work at Fairway. And they've done not only an amazing job doing that the last 7 years, but also, as everybody's mentioned, when they did close down, they were able to shift employees to other locations. And I think that just deserves another round of applause to keep folks employed locally. It's important. So thank you again for having us, having Southwest here today. We really appreciate it, and we're happy. It's a wonderful day. Red Hook's reopened, and they truly are an anchor to the local community. So thank you.
Okay, two local business owners, St. John, Frizzell, and who else? Come on up. And to my PR people, I think we've left a lot of people out, so if you can give me a little list of everybody we left out, I'll mention everybody's name.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Ron Kyle, along with my wife, Mary. We live in Red Hook, and we own a little wine and liquor store down the street called Dry Dock. Today, I want to speak to you about Restore Red Hook. Like Fairway, our store was destroyed by Sandy. But with a lot of help from friends, neighbors, customers, and volunteers, we were able to reopen a temporary store in a vacant storefront here in Red Hook 6 days after the storm. We're still rebuilding our old store and hope to reopen again in a few weeks. Businesses in our little seaside village were devastated by Sandy. Quickly, we realized that we were all in this together, and our survival was dependent on coming together and acting as a community. Restore Red Hook was established to raise funds for small Red Hook businesses to rebuild and reopen. Most face tens of thousands of dollars of losses and expenses, not covered by any insurance. To date, $500,000 has been raised by Restore Red Hook, and emergency grants have gone out to 50 small businesses. Woo! Our next round of financing and grants will be going out in a few weeks to businesses. For many, this is the only financial help that they have gotten to date. Fairway is very generously matching donations to Restore Red Hook up to $20,000. So when you're checking out today, please donate $1 or $2. It really will make a difference. Restore Red Hook is a 501c3, so all your donations are tax deductible. And they go straight to these businesses damaged by Sandy. Also, don't forget to pick up your shirt. They have them for sale in the parking lot and in the store. Those proceeds will go to Restore Red Hook. I want to introduce my friend and fellow business owner, St. John Frizzell.
Good morning, Red Hook. My restaurant, Fort Defiance, just up the street there. Great day for an Irish coffee, by the way. Was heavily damaged by Hurricane Sandy. And I have to admit, there were a few days at the beginning when I didn't know if I was going to be able to reopen. But then the volunteers showed up. First a handful, then a dozen, and then hundreds of them walking the streets of Red Hook in their muddy boots and work gloves, just looking for some place to dig in and get dirty. And it was their energy and their spirit that got us through those dark early days. And I have to give a shout out here to Red Hook Initiative, which did a fantastic job of organizing those volunteers and the relief effort in general. Thank you, guys. So now it's March, and the weathermen in their raincoats and most of the photographers have moved on, and thankfully most of the businesses in Red Hook are back open. But the work that we started here on October 30th isn't done. And the people of Fairway recognize that. They understand that it takes more than a few months to recover financially from an event like Hurricane Sandy. And for their understanding and for their support, we'd like to thank them on behalf of the 50 small businesses of Restore Red Hook. Today, Ron and I, thank you, today, Ron and I want to tell you that Red Hook is not just a place with the greatest supermarket in New York, and it's definitely not a neighborhood that got wiped out by a hurricane. It's a community that should be the envy of the world. It's a place where neighbors help neighbors, even if they have to get dirty to do it. And it's a place where the big guys down the block, but they stop what they're doing to help the little guys up the street, just because it's the right thing to do. And so we invite all of you to come back to Red Hook again and again so we can show you why we think this is the greatest little town in the biggest city in America. Thank you.
Thank you, Fairway. Welcome back. We're so glad we don't have to forage anymore.
Well, my PR people gave me a list of people we left off, and the only names on them are their names. So I want to thank Bruce Bobbins, Gary Baranowski, Susan Graciano, and your whole team. Did I leave anybody who's important? Stand up and let's thank you also. Okay, now Miss America is going to help us with the ribbon cutting. And I'm sorry I didn't sit next to you. Please forgive me. She can.
Do we have a...
Well,
I think you should get one of these.
Did you still want me to speak or no?
You want to say something?
King Michael.
Two minutes. Miss America wants to say hello to everybody.
I'll show you where it is inside.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Brooklyn.
Hi, Miss America, Brooklyn. Be careful. Do not cut yourself. Do not cut yourself. Yes, absolutely.
Fire hydrant. You gotta pick up your leg for the fire.
Are they going?
I am the very first snow. I am the very first snow. Number one, they say, in do, re, mi, fa, sol, so. I am the very first snow. Sitting on a line or chilling in a space. You've got to know I'm there. I'll sing it just in case. Yeah, there I am. I'm right behind red. Who is red anyway?
Let's give another round of applause to the School of Inquiry. They did a wonderful job. Thank you, guys.
Yay, Gravesend.
Brooklyn, I just wanted to say thank you as your former Miss New York and as a former Miss Brooklyn. This is my home, and I couldn't be more thrilled to be back here and to be representing all of you now as Miss America. Just so you know, this is where I consider home. I know that I'm from Alabama, but Brooklyn is where it's at.
You're from Brooklyn.
And I would like to give a special thanks to all of the men that are standing up here today, and the women as well. Yeah. Sorry. I consider it a great honor to be among such leaders in the greatest city on earth, which means they're leaders among the greatest nation on earth. And this man right here, I can't tell you how great he has been to me and my family. Just so you know what kind of borough president we have, he called the mayor of my hometown in Opelika, Alabama, to say congratulations. And he called my parents, and he called my grandparents. He's a wonderful human being. And so thank you, Brooklyn. I am so happy to be here, and I look forward to being a part of this wonderful event with Fairway. So thank you.
Gotta hold it up.
Very well.
Ready? Come up, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. One. Can I sit back?
2.